It's December 18th, 2021, and welcome to episode 66 of the Babymetal podcast. We gather in the podcast Discord server on alternate weeks, or alternate weeks, to discuss news and thoughts on the past and future projects of Babymetal. We invite you to join us, whether you're a longtime fan or have only just arrived. I am Paul, and I am joined by Kevin.
Hey, welcome back, everybody.
And Maggie.
Hi, y'all.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
So in this episode, we're planning on kind of like closing out the year. This is going to be the last episode we record this year, I'm sure.
Yes.
And sort of reflect back, not just on the year, but on the whole of Metal Resistance. So we thought it would be kind of a fun idea to bring in the community a little bit on that. So we will be talking a bit with people about their favorite moments and so forth. Possibly we could talk about other sort of topical things. First, like Sue is just about to become older.
Yes, her birthday is in a couple days.
Yep.
That's a Monday? That's Monday? That's Monday.
Yeah.
Monday as we record, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or
Monday
Sunday
is
locally.
Student Day.
Yes.
Sunday.
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 We actually celebrated here amongst ourselves locally last week. That was when we could all get together before we all kind of go our separate ways before the holidays.
Right.
Oh, that's cool. What'd you guys end up doing?
We there's a local restaurant that does okonomiyaki, so we went and got okonomiyaki and then congregated at one of our houses to have cake.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Nice.
I've
Yeah, it was
only
great.
I've only ever had that food once before, although it was really good. And I can't remember what kind I had, but it was my Japanese student's mother. She treated me to it as a thank you
Ooh.
for keeping her daughter well, I guess.
Well, that's pretty great.
Yeah,
It was delicious.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It was Osaka style, not Hiroshima style, but can't split hairs when you're not there. Over that
Right.
kind of thing. It was still delicious. And it was fun to get together. So
Oh, cool.
happy birthday, Sue Metal. Yeah.
Yes, happy early birthday by only
Yeah.
a couple days.
It is. I mean, like we do have to kind of wonder if we're going to hear anything. I mean, like, I think this would be the first time we didn't, right? If we don't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. I think like as the staff will probably still do stuff and I think they'll still post and say, hey, happy birthday. I don't think they're going to be totally like not do anything. I'd be surprised if they don't. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like the thing that just seems weird is that if they're sealed, then whatever they post, that's going to be basically there for the duration, right? I mean, so they've got this nice sort of 9 grid up on Instagram. Are they going to mess that up? Are they going to post
who
something and
knows?
delete it? Maybe it'll come from like Babymetal's account.
That would be funny.
That would be funny, actually.
Yeah. Or Toys Factory or something, but
Well, normally it comes from the normal account, though. I don't know.
right. A muffled tweet from deep beneath the seal. But
Yeah.
Anyway.
It'd definitely be interesting.
Hey, I hear it's somebody's birthday today.
yeah.
Sorry,
Anyway, we'll see.
I'm in my weird moment today. I apologize ahead of time already. It's gonna be weird. Could you imagine though, like Koba knocking on the door? Hey, it's your birthday.
I'm sure that's exactly his accent as well.
Yes. That's how that works. I am sure of it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think
what accent would that have even been? Would that have been like Philly? It's like maybe he's like a Philly dad. I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Right. I mean, I think we were thinking about at some point in the future, maybe talking about kind of like birthdays through history, what they've done, because they've done some kind of cool things. But probably not now.
And not at this
Probably not
time.
now.
We can always save that for another episode.
Yeah. Although in our chat, we have a picture of some of the older birthday tweets, and I'm just seeing 2018 in the sort of desert garb, and
Right.
remembering not one of my favorite moments of Metal Resistance.
Yeah, definitely.
They were just trying to hide their outfits.
I have to say, it seems like in the most recent couple of iterations of their official photos, they seem to have picked really weird ones. Like the actual most recent one isn't bad, but the ones that went with Metal Galaxy were very, very sort of, I don't know what the way, they
Artificial?
seem sort of plastic. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
They just decided just to take a whole bunch of pictures during their like media tour thing, and then just happened to be like, you know what, we're going to use this one for their birthday pic whenever it happens.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think they actually be like, hey, it's your birthday, come over here, we're going to take a picture of you and push you on the thing. No, I think they just select one and it's like, oh, we're going to boop this one up here.
Whatever's on the
Almost.
camera roll.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Let's edit it up just a tiny bit.
So is there anything else we wanted to cover in the news area? Probably not.
They're still
News.
sealed.
They're still sealed. Yeah.
Still sealed.
Still sealed. Other than that, not like news. So, yeah.
But I mean, so the fact of them being sealed is actually, in a sense, that's kind of what brings this up. You know, that you know, we've now closed off Metal Resistance. All 10 gongs have been banged upon, right?
Yes.
Ring-a-dinged.
Exactly. And so we can see the whole picture and we can think back on all of it. And, you know, this being kind of a year-end show, it would have been kind of the normal thing to do to kind of reflect back on 2021 and all the moments from 2021, except there were like, you know, 9. So it's probably better to have a broader view. So that was the idea. So to close out the year and with the end of Metal Resistance, we thought it would be great to hear from you, the community. We want to know what your favorite moment from Metal Resistance was, and it can be anything from your favorite performance, your favorite memory, anything in between. Metal Resistance itself, we were talking about this a little before we started, and I think maybe it starts at Legend Eye, but you know, we probably won't come down on you too hard if you pick something, you know, like the Scoopers interview.
Right.
So anyway, everyone who's here attending the recording will have the opportunity, if they choose, to come off a mute individually one at a time and tell us about their favorite moment from Metal Resistance. So we would like to give as many people as we can the chance to have a chat about this. So we're looking for something like 2 to 5 minutes per person, you know, depending on how many people want to speak. So
All right. First caller.
if you could just introduce yourself and tell us about your favorite moment from Metal Resistance.
Yeah. Hey guys, this is Paul.
Yeah. Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hi.
My name is Paul from Ireland.
Mhm.
Yeah, so favorite moment of Metal Resistance. I kind of have to break it down into 3 parts, if that's okay. I'll be brief as much as I can. So, like, I guess being a Babymetal fan, Babymetal is so much about their live show. So I think a huge moment for any fan is their first show. So that would, for me, that would be Kentish Town Forum in London, July 2014, the first time they went overseas. So that was where it all started for me. An amazing experience, life-changing moment. And yeah, I fell in love with Babymetal. Well, obviously, I listened to them for a couple of months before then, since the Give Me Chocolate video came out in around March that year, and fell down the foxhole at that point and was ready to go to a show immediately. So, yeah, I made the big jump and dived in right away and traveled to London and saw them. Thought I was crazy doing so. I didn't know who I'd see there or what it would be like. You know, was I crazy just traveling over to another country to see a crazy Japanese band by myself? You know, I kind of felt crazy, but I'm glad I did it because it's honestly been life changing. So, yeah, that's part 1, I guess.
And correct me if I'm wrong. You're on that DVD, aren't you? Didn't you get a shot?
Yeah, a couple of times. I managed to get myself in the front row center. That's my go-to place. I don't mind waiting for hours beforehand to claim that spot. So I feel it's I've earned it.
First concert gets the headshot on the disc. I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm quite a big guy, as many of you might know. So I don't really blend into the background very well. I kind of stand out. So I'm the fat guy with glasses and in the front row. So yeah, that's part 1. Part 2, I guess another step in the journey of being a Babymetal fan is what everyone hopes to reach it at one point, but visiting Japan. And that was a major one for me because after I'd seen them the first time, I kind of said I'd love to see them in Japan. That would be such a great experience. I've never been there before. So that happened for me in September of 2016, the Tokyo Dome shows. Those were just amazing. I felt crazy being in Japan, and the show was on, and they started playing, and everyone knows what the stage looks like and what the performance was like. They've seen the DVD, and I just stood there and said, like, wow, I really shouldn't be here. Me, just this, regular guy from Ireland is at a Babymetal concert in Tokyo Dome. So yeah, that was massive, and that show was epic. The biggest Babymetal show ever. Every song from the first two albums, and don't really need to say much more about what that. It was, everyone has kind of seen it at this stage. So yeah,
Right.
that was amazing.
Actually, where were you positioned? Like in the different nights?
Yeah, so actually in the same position. I didn't get the tickets for myself. It was actually a friend in Japan who's sadly now passed away, who got me the tickets. I didn't win the lottery or anything, and he actually bought the tickets for me before I went to Japan. Very trusting person, and as soon as we got there and we went to the pre-show party in a British hub bar in Ochanomizu, Tokyo. That's where we did the deal and bought the tickets. So I was sitting beside him and his friends, and we just had the time of our lives. It was incredible. And it was a really good spot because the way it was set up, like if you were too close to the stage, if you were down on the floor, you probably couldn't really see, what was going on up on the roof. For anyone who's familiar with the staging of Tokyo Dome, it wasn't the best for people who were close to the stage, and down at the bottom you couldn't see up the top. So where we were was further back, but probably the best position because we could literally see everything.
Well, that's good, at least.
Yeah, it was about halfway up the seated area on the Shiawase side on song 4. When Yui and Mo walked around and this side for song 4, so they did their thing. So yeah, not to labor too much on that point, but part 3 of my one is, I guess another part of being a Babymetal fan is like, who's your favorite member? Everyone's, that someone's a Sue guy, a Yui guy, Moa guy. So for me, it's Sue. It's always going to be Sue, and I guess it's quite topical because her birthday is in 2 days. Legendess is part 3
Yes.
of my favorite moment. Again, another amazing experience. Traveling to Hiroshima, having the okonomiyaki, as Kevin mentioned earlier, in Suzuka's favorite okonomiyaki stand, the Itsukushima special, which we enjoyed in Sue's favorite okonomiyaki spot, and went out to Miyajima Island and did all that stuff, and saw an amazing concert at the Green Arena and celebrated Sue's birthday. So understandably, that was an amazing experience. So
Excellent.
yeah, so in 3 parts: first show London, first time in Japan, Tokyo Dome, and Suzuka's big day at Legend S. So yeah, that's my contribution.
Awesome. That's cool.
Excellent.
That's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So
Thanks for sharing.
Thanks.
yeah, see you. Thank you, guys.
Yep, thanks,
Thank
Paul.
you.
Well, caller number 2.
All right. So, next person we have with their hand raised is Funny Toss, who we have heard
Yay!
lots about and heard from in the past. But introduce yourself again.
Yes.
Oh, hello everyone.
Hello.
My name is Steven, probably better known as Funny Toss within the online community. This is kind of nostalgic, I guess, of being back on the podcast.
Yeah, welcome
Yay.
back.
And actually, this is the first time I get to talk to you, so this is awesome.
Yeah, that's right. You
Yeah.
unfortunately, yeah, this is good. No, this is now
So it's
officially
nice
my,
to formally meet
my
you,
favorite
yes.
memory of the Babymetal.
Aww.
Right. Except, we've the metal resistance is closed though.
Yes, true.
So technically doesn't count.
True. Made that comment earlier.
So I was internally debating. I wanted to go later on, but my personality is when I see no one's raising their hand, I just go, oh, screw it, I'll do it myself.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah, well, because I feel like my moment was going to be much more mundane than others, partly because like they've done a lot of cool stuff over the past 10 years, obviously. But for me, this was more about moments to you personally, how it affected you. And I had the impeccable timing of becoming a fan almost 2 years ago. And there have only been a limited number of Babymetal real-time activities that I was able to participate in, compared to being able to go to a show or Tokyo Dome or wherever. I'm sure everything pales in comparison. So for me, all the moments would come, would have to come within the past 2 years, because by definition, those are the ones that I was able to show up in. So I really enjoyed their Kohaku performance, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess that's kind of funny, because in the grand scheme of things, that's almost nothing for what they've done. Like, they didn't really do much at the show itself. But experiencing it live, I think, as a fan, hit me harder than, let's say, watching an epic show of theirs, online or via Blu-ray. Yeah.
Sure.
Did you know Kohaku before that? I mean, like, is that something that you were familiar with?
I
prior
was
to their
actually.
participation?
So I forgot to mention that. So I'm from Taiwan, and so Japanese culture is, to a certain extent, has permeated Taiwan to a large extent, and also that explains why it's 4:30 a.m. and I decided to go earlier so I could just check back out if I needed to. But that's another cool part of being part of this community, I think, is just how diverse and international it is. But yeah, I heard of the show before. It's called, the Hongbai Dazan, the red-white battle, I guess. And it's, famous. Most young people don't watch it because, it's an old person thing. It's a tradition. It's been going on for like dozens and dozens of years. But, like many people, I was interested in it because Babymetal was there. So I checked it out, and I checked out pretty much the whole show, actually. And I think that helped, because it helped me grasp the magnitude of, what was going on. I think for me, the biggest moment was just seeing them sing the ending song together with everyone, Endless Rain. And that's kind of funny, right? It wasn't even a Babymetal song.
Yeah.
And it's not like they need recognition from the world for how awesome or how cool they are. But for me, it just felt like at a certain level they'd made it. Just, seeing Moa with the mic and Sue with the mic and hearing them, together on the stage with everyone singing a song of best wishes towards the world, really. It just hit me, how much they'd come over the past, 10 years and how much it must have felt for them. And I think many older people in the community, at least those who are older than the girls themselves, will have a feeling of, they're your younger sisters or something like that. You'll feel proud of them by extension. And that's the moment I felt. It's like when you're seeing your kid brother like do something cool and be recognized for it. Like you knew how great they were already before, but to see a wider audience recognize them for it, even if it isn't objectively speaking the coolest thing they've done. It's the coolest thing they're being recognized for.
Right.
And
Definitely.
I just felt really proud at the moment.
A funny story about that is that I have an older friend who, she moved back to Japan recently, like right before Kohaku. And she actually messaged me that night. Well, it would have been morning for me or day or whatever. And she was just like, hey, I just saw Babymetal on this television show. And I was like, was it called Kohaku? She's like, oh, yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, I knew they were on there. She's like, and they won, too. I was like, oh, yay. So she's like specifically like messaged me because she knew that I like Babymetal. And she's like, yeah, I saw the girls on there. I thought that was really neat. I'm like, yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I do agree that there's something very nice about having them in some sort of more general public space like that. I mean, I don't know what it was yesterday. Might have been yesterday. I sort of happened to go into a restaurant and Trotty was playing on the speakers, and I thought, like, that's just insane. Like, how is this happening out in the real world? But I mean, like, it's a nice thing to have them be recognized like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think part of it is just that, at that point you've been led not to have any expectations, right? Like, if we're being honest, the Ijime Dame Zetai performance in that kind of setting was honestly kind of lackluster.
Yeah.
So after watching, I was like, well, this is what it is, and may as well just keep on watching that song. I remember they were invited, to participate in the last song. I think the names were released, so we knew that they would be participating in the last song beforehand. So I figured, well, you know what, IDZ was kind of lackluster, but we have this to look forward to. I hope they get a single shot or something like that. And then it ends up, you can hear Sue's voice clearly, and Mo was given a mic, and that just goes. I think it helps to have low expectations. Yes, that made it
that
feel
was
more
one of the largest microphones I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
it's a lesson on perspective there.
Yeah.
I guess this is less, related to the band itself, but I think hopefully a part of what we can do today on this episode is, I guess, share what makes them so special to us, right? Like, that's part of their legacy of metal resistance and moving forward.
True, yeah.
So one of my favorite moments was, receiving one of the Savior masks, actually from a Japanese fan a few months ago.
Nice.
He's mostly active on YouTube. He's a retired guy, but he was able to attend like 9 of the shows.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
wow.
So he's always very active in the YouTube comments, just sharing his love and knowledge of Babymetal to to the world and all that. And yeah, he saw the translations that we've been working on for the past year and all that, and he's actually gifted out quite a few of his Savior masks to various different international fans. But for me, that was just special, just because you just don't see this kind of thing coming. Like, just becoming part of a truly global community. It's kind of similar to the Kohaku moment, where you knew it was special, but there's a moment that made you realize how special it is. I've been part of sports fans communities, like I'm a big hockey fan or wherever, but nothing's felt the same way. So that was another special moment where I felt like, damn, this really is a special place, and I really appreciate it for what it is. I hope that as it's unsealed, where when they're sealed, the community is also kind of sealed to a certain extent. So I'm looking forward to the community becoming revived again when they become active again. That's one of the best parts of being a fan, the fan base. And the worst part as well.
Well, that's very true too. Yes.
So that's
there's our positives and negatives to everything. Yeah, exactly.
Of course. Yeah. So, but just want to say, thanks so much for the show. Seriously, this was another big part of what made me becoming a fan so much more fun. I started listening to it, enjoyed listening to it, when I became a fan earlier on. I just really appreciate the work you guys have been doing, and looking forward to more.
Thank you so much.
And likewise, half of our content is based on your translation work.
That is accurate. So yes, from me to you, thank you so much because I know that is a ton of work. So on behalf of everybody, thank you.
Yeah,
definitely.
Thank you. All right. See you.
Yep.
See you.
Maybe while we're waiting to get this to work, something that Funny Toss said reminded me of one of the things that I was thinking about for my own thoughts on this, which was the watching along WoW broadcasts while in the Discord or like on chats or whatever. That is a ton of fun, because everybody's sort of simultaneously watching it. It's not actually a show, so you're not actually there, like you can actually talk to people, you can hear them, and that sort of thing. Yeah. And it really is it's just a blast to sort of like jointly watch these things with the community. So that, speaking of kind of like the community and energizing everybody, that is something that is definitely, if you haven't done that, and the opportunity arises, do it. Whether it's I guess that worked best for WoW when like nobody knew what was coming exactly.
Right.
But even just when somebody decides to play a video and everybody watches it together on Twitch or something, it's still quite a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dragon Fury has arrived. Please introduce yourself.
Okay. good morning for you, good evening for me, I believe.
Uh-huh.
My name is Jake.
Uh-huh.
Just to keep the radio analogy going, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Love
nice. Go for it.
If you can't tell, I used to listen to quite a bit of U.S. radio.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, my name is Jake. I'm from the Netherlands. I wonder if Kevin actually remembers me, because we spent a long time talking in Portland.
I do remember you, actually.
Yeah.
We were in that line for a long time together.
Yeah. And maybe you remember too, and yelled at you in L.A.
LA feels like a fever dream, if I'm honest.
It's kind of hot.
Yeah. It was so hot, and there was no shade.
Yeah, 0.
Yeah.
There was one tree, basically.
The one tree in an Australian bringing cold beer.
Yes.
It wasn't even cold. He brought warm beer and then dumped a bunch of ice on it.
Yeah, pretty much. That sounds about right.
Yeah. My first show, one of my favorite moments probably is Utrecht 2018, or Utrecht.
I have never heard that pronounced correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, me neither. I'm pleased to have heard it now.
I am too.
It's, what is it again?
Utrecht. Now, it has a hard G, which is pretty much impossible for Americans to say. Now, I actually have a funny story about Utrecht, because at the time I was convinced I didn't like moshing. It was my first concert, just blank. Just first Babymetal first concert ever.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great introduction.
Yeah. So I thought, I don't like crowds, don't like moshing. I'm just going to stand in the balcony. So I really do enjoy the show from the balconies. Great venue. But I presume some of you saw them in 2018 in the US. And if you remember, the Sue did Akatsuki.
Yes.
Is that pronounced that way?
Katsuki, yes.
Yeah, the U is kind of swallowed.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's not there.
Yeah.
Right.
So Akatsuki, yeah.
Now, anyway, if you remember the stage setup, she was in the back, and then she had 2 big spotlights shining over her shoulders.
The spider spotlights, yeah.
Yeah. And the left one was shining straight into my face.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
So, that's not the end of that story, because I spent most of my time trying to shield it with my hand and still see Sue sort of half past my hand. And it didn't occur to me until I was on the train home. If you're on stage, you don't see anything from the crowd. Except when there's a giant spotlight shining into the balcony on some jerk's face.
Yep. That is accurate.
He spent most of that song probably looking at me going, what the hell is that? What the Hey.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But I'd say my favorite moment came in Portland, as I mentioned earlier. I was on that tour, the last 4 shows except Aftershock I saw. And they sold the flat cap, if you remember. And I bought that in San Francisco, and basically I want to look at it. It's, no offense, but it's a piece of junk. Cheaply made. So I had the fun ideas. Like I really liked Rio Sayashi, so get a big felt tip pen, write Rio on the bill, and that will be my thing. Then I'll write Rio there, and that's great. And then Portland in the front row, and I think at the end, right, Road of Resistance or the One, they all come up to the front of the stage and go, just a little audience interaction.
Yes.
I thought, screw it. I'll just hold it up. If she sees it, she sees it. If not, maybe not. And I'll just post a quick picture in chat, because one of the Japanese photo guys, get which one? I think it was Book.
Probably Book-san. He tends to take a lot of pictures at the shows when he's there.
And he's also a bit of a Rio fan, so.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yes, he is.
And right at that moment, he took the picture you can see in chat right now. So,
Aw. So she did get to see it. So that's awesome.
Delightful. That is a delightful photo.
That is fantastic.
It is so great. So what it is it's a photo of Jake holding up the hat and Rio seeing it and looking, and smiling at it, and you know she's clearly seen it.
Yeah, it's definitely obvious that she's seen it. That's great. That's always really nice, is when like the girls, I'm sure that's probably a favorite moment for anybody, is like when the girls actually make eye contact with you and you know that they've actually seen you. Like that's always such a wonderful moment.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do I also spot a little pink towel?
Yeah, that's the knockoff Sakura Gakuin towel that someone handed out at LA. I forgot who.
Yeah, I have one of those too.
Yeah,
from the same batch, I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I was dummy because I put it in my glass case, except I forgot my glass case is right up against the window, and spends 8 to 10 hours a day in direct sunlight, so now it doesn't look good anymore. But,
aw,
that's too bad.
Yeah, it still functions as a not good towel.
Right.
Yeah.
At least it's usable.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's my favorite personal moment.
That's
that's a really good one.
That is a good one.
Thank you so much for sharing.
One. Yeah. If either Maggie or Kevin want to throw something in, that's also fine.
I mean, you know me, I like to talk.
Maggie does like to talk.
Like I said,
thanks for agreeing with me, Kevin.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, if we're gonna kind of wait a moment, I guess I'll go ahead and put my 2 cents in.
Sure.
I'll try to make this short and sweet as possible within my range of making things short and sweet. Probably my favorite of the actual Babymetal moments would definitely have to be Legendess. Just because just the whole entire intro of that was just so cool. And I'm sure Sue, like, being the, for those who might be aware of prior, interviews and stuff, have always said, oh, I feel like kind of like an actress, or like I don't feel like myself when I'm on stage. It's like I'm actually Sue Metal, that sort of stuff. I'm sure she really, really felt it during that portion. Like it felt like a real, what are those called? I don't know what the name of the thing is, but it felt like a thing.
Yeah.
I'll figure the word later. Anyway, so I would have to feel that Legendess is probably the favorite of the Babymetal moments in and of themselves, for sure. My favorite Babymetal moment, well, one of my good memories, I should say, is obviously my very first overseas show. I went as a female from the US by myself, flew over to go see a concert in Japan. Not only that, but in Osaka. I have to be very specific. I saw Big Fox Festival in 2017. That was my first overseas show. So that was obviously a very, awesome and cool and everything. And that had to be my favorite, moment of seeing Babymetal, even though I had seen them in the US at, their own individual concert, which was in Philly. But my favorite memory Babymetal moment is how my name of Mizuni Metal came to be. Even though it's somewhat embarrassing, it is still probably one of my favorites. Basically, I said something incorrectly in Japanese, and a lot of people laughed at me about it. And and my prior metal name, nobody really understood the reference. So I referenced the goofy thing that I did. And since the reference actually was already being used, I just put 2 on it. So I am Mizuni Metal, Water 2 Metal, or the second water metal, as I like to say. So, but that is seriously, honestly, one of my most memorable moments of Babymetal, which is sad. You would think that it'd be like, oh, being in the crowd doing this and that, or oh, this person's no. That it's being embarrassed and then coming up with my metal name is probably the best thing out of all the stuff. Just because it's a personal story, it's an experience, And it's a memory with friends. I'm still friends with all these people. They still make fun of me, but I'm still friends with all these people. Not only that, but in like a country that I've never been to before, it's just, it's one of those things that's going to stick with you for forever and a day. And because of Babymetal, this happened, the memory stuck with you. So yeah, it's how my name came to be is kind of cool.
Nice.
And maybe one other thing potentially is, well, just any moment that I'm able to meet any of, my friends in the Babymetal community is always a great and wonderful moment to me, because it's like family you haven't seen in a long time. It's like, oh, hey, how are you doing? What have you been up to? How's your flight going? Because, some people are coming from up 10,000 miles away and flying in or whatever. And
it is neat how there's this kind of a recurring community, at the shows in the lines.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then there's always that one person who's like brand new, never been to a Babymetal concert before, who's like scared half out of their mind. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to speak to anybody. And then it's like, as soon as they're like, oh, hey, well, let me introduce you to some people. And then it's like, boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then they're like, they're one of us.
Yeah. It's quite an experience, to show up in the line. I mean, yes, that actually one of the ones I was going to say for myself was basically the Charlotte show, was the first one that I went to. And I don't know if people remember exactly sort of how that transpired, but essentially there was a leak maybe 2 weeks or something early, where the Charlotte, North Carolina venue posted that there was going to be like the tickets were available for a day or something like that.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
The show, and so I kind of this was sort of like right at the kind of the best moment in a way. We didn't really know anything that was going to happen after that. I was in a mindset where I was I just kind of gotten familiar with them, and I was thinking based on what they are, I could easily miss the chance to ever see them, so
Right.
even if it was going to be in some other state, I have to go because there's going to be just one shot at this.
Yeah. That's how I was with the Philly show in 16. I was just like, I don't care if it's
Gotta
6.5 hours away. I have to go.
Yeah. And of course, things, it's become clear that that wasn't the one shot, as it turns
exactly.
out.
Mm-hmm.
But like I wasn't gonna be able to. At the time, I figured I wasn't gonna be able to wait till they showed up, next to me. I'm just gonna get on a plane and go by myself. And it did feel a little insane, but when you get there and you're in the line, then it suddenly makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
actually, I do have a question for you, Paul, because I keep thinking, because I was also at the Charlotte show, and I feel like, did you have one of those like foldable seats and you were sitting underneath the tree?
No,
that was not you.
It wasn't me. No,
that was not you. Okay.
But
I mean, I know what you look like now, but I'm just trying to like recollect for the day, because I was hanging out with a couple of my friends. And I was also the one in costume too.
Right.
And it was a little warm.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is a little bit difficult to like think back and try to realize if you've seen people at shows. It's possible.
The only thing I remember is that's the first time that I met one of the Australian kitsunes, and he was asleep.
Yeah, by the pizza. Yeah,
on the concrete by the pizza, and nobody woke him up to get a piece of pizza. Yeah. He was like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" I was like, "You missed pizza," and he's like, "Oh, really?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was just sitting right there. There's like a whole stack of empty boxes," and he's like, "Oh, what?" It's like, "You look tired. You look like you were dead. You look like you needed sleep. If you're willing to sleep on the concrete, you're tired."
Yeah.
Good old Ryan.
Yeah, I think he's one of the people who follows the tours around and stuff. So I think a lot of people know him. And he's not hard to spot.
No, he's
True.
not. The red hair and like, he's kind of tall too. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Cool dude.
But yeah, so I guess my personal highlight time was I mean, it's hard to pick exactly one, but I mean, like that's one that stood out to me. It was kind of like that sort of initial rush to try to get it before it was gone, to get to see them before there was no chance again.
Mm-hmm.
So,
because you're like hoping, oh my gosh, I hope it's not sold out. And it's like, of course, if it's sold out, it's like, oh, it's my, missed my chance, or that sort of thing.
I think the other thing that I was going to say, like for them, not so much a for me thing, but was I think Glastonbury actually was a pretty significant thing in the same kind of way that Kohaku was. It gets them in front of an audience that wasn't specifically there to see them. It was insane. I mean, to try to do that in between two shows in Japan.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember a lot of us were just like, are you serious? Like, they're going to hop on a plane literally after performing like a 2-hour concert and flying overnight red eye to a festival in the UK in the middle of summer. But then again, I think summers in the UK are a little cooler than the summers in the US. I don't know. Anyway, it still was bonkers. And then they had to go back because then like a few days afterwards, they performed somewhere else, didn't they?
Yeah. It was right in between two shows, and they only just barely had time to actually make it to Glastonbury. I mean, I think they had a little more time on the other end, but it was still like, they had a day and a half or something, rather than
shout
just
out to
hours.
the fans that also made that trip.
Yeah, that too. We do have somebody who's wanting to share, but does not wish to actually speak on the podcast. So is that okay if I speak on their behalf because I like to talk?
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, Morbo, I will actually read what they wrote on the chat.
Mm-hmm.
My list of favorite moments is not an absolute top list as much as 3 moments I want to highlight for specific reasons. Number 1 is Tokyo Dome, just for the sheer scale of the stage and the verticality. This, together with Live in London, were the first Blu-rays I bought. I was flabbergasted when day 1 started out with Road of Resistance at the top of the tower. Just an amazing show. Number 2 was the Red Fox Festival. Oh, yes. Personal favorite among the 5 Fox festivals. Good choice. The audio mixing makes you feel like standing in the middle of the crowd, and paired with the chants from the exclusively female crowd makes this show noteworthy. And I have to add that I have a list of like types of shows that I need to go to. That is the last type of show on my list, isn't one of those all-female ones. If there is an all-female one in the future, you bet your butt I'm going to try to go to that no matter what. So just bear that in mind. Anyway, that was not part of Morbo. That was me. Anyway, now we're back to Morbo. Number 3 was Legend Metal Galaxy. Having the Western commies perform their solo sections on day 2 was an absolute treat. True that. I love the Eastern commies to death, but it was pretty great to see the Western solos immortalized on the Blu-ray. Also having both sets of commies as well as all the Avengers on stage for closing out both shows was pretty great, though the effect of it somewhat diminished due to stage design. Well, and also because of, camera angles and all that other stuff and flipping back here and forth. That's the kind of the thing with going to a live show and seeing it live versus seeing it on Blu-ray. You do kind of lose a little bit of, I don't know how to explain it, but you do lose a little bit of something by doing that. So it is a little bit different experience watching it on a Blu-ray versus seeing it live, though. I understand that. But no, it was really awesome and cool because, these guys are the Western commies. Nobody really knew who these guys were. They're from the US, and they're performing in Japan in front of thousands. What was it, 25,000 per night, wasn't it, or something like that, Kevin? I can't remember.
No, it's smaller than that.
Was it smaller than that?
Yeah.
It was about
Makuhari is a little smaller than that.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Well, anyway, there's still a ton of people being able to perform in front of all these, Japanese fans of, it's like, well, they don't know me. Let's do the best I can. And then they killed it. And it's just such a great feeling. I was like, yes, it's great.
It was a great reward for them too, right? For having supported them all over the world.
Oh, for sure.
And I think they all kind of indirectly mentioned how they felt. It was like a reward and an honor to be able to do that.
Oh, yeah. I know every one of them has posted something on Twitter at some point in time. And now some of them do have a decent amount of followers now at this point too, although some of them have kind of gone on their own ways of doing their own projects and stuff. I think Anthony still does I don't think he drums for that band specifically anymore. I know one of the guitarists, he does his own thing. I think he's with he's doing like a tour with Ice Nine Kills, if anybody's familiar with that band. They're the horror style band that bases stuff on like horror movies. I think CJ's still with the Galactic Empire. There we go.
Oh yeah, right. Is Galactic Empire still a thing?
Yeah,
for some reason,
I'm pretty sure they
kind
are.
of disbanded, but
no, I'm pretty sure they still are a thing. I think just one of the members left. I do know that, but
okay.
But yeah, so now they're all doing their own thing, and they have followers and people, from all over the world are chatting them up now. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I really like the fact that they were included in Legend Metal Galaxy, because that sort of that raised them from being just sort of like the help, to actually like being part of the group, right?
That's true.
The help.
So
that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, because there was a sense in which, at least initially, it wasn't really clear exactly what was going on. If it was just sort of like these are cheap musicians that happen to be local. Or whether whether we're supposed to really sort of consider them a new part of the overall team. And I mean, I think they're still not. They still haven't quite reached the Eastern Kami Band's status, of course. But this did really sort of bring them in, I think, a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great share. Thanks for taking the time to type that out, Morbo.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Morbo. Sorry if I butchered it.
I don't know, Kevin, have you had any thought inspirations as we've been talking through these? I
have had some thoughts. I could fill the air here while we wait for hopefully somebody else to join us. I'm going to share two, a personal one for me, and then I guess a moment of significance for them. So for me, my favorite memory of the Metal Resistance era was actually after my first show, Palladium. What was that, 2017, I guess?
2017, yeah.
Being so blown away by that experience, purchasing tickets for their next show in San Diego, part of the Korn support tour down there, on a whim that night, finding tickets and then driving to San Diego and making that happen. And I'm really glad I did, because without even this being forward in my mind, my friends and I, we had bought tickets for Yui Metal's 18th birthday show. It was her birthday that day. So completely by accident, we ended up going to her show, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen videos and pictures from that.
Yeah, that was the amphitheater, right?
That was at that amphitheater. That's when, they do Catch Me If You Can, and Moa got kind of stuck, and they all kind of laugh about it. Mm-hmm. Sue wishes Yui Metal a happy birthday in the middle of karate. And she gets super embarrassed. And, one of the fans in the pit had actually brought little party hats, little happy birthday party hats.
Yes.
And if you look closely in the videos, you can see everybody wearing these little party hats. And I still have mine. It's right here in reach on my desk from that show. So that was one of my favorite personal memories from Metal Resistance.
At the first show that I went to, somebody blew up little black and red little bouncy balls. Mm-hmm. And I still have that. It's inflated, obviously, now. It's flat as a pancake, but I still have that, too. Just those little things are kind of nice. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, it's a memory. This is awesome.
That's pretty great, though, that you were actually there to see that. I mean, like, that's those are often recycled, little video clips that we all know.
And, that was my second ever show, and I didn't even know any better. It was just a complete fluke that we ended up at what would become, a very memed, very screen captured and kind of beloved little performance. And it was just a, support to a performance with Korn. It wasn't even a headline show.
Yeah.
So great memories there. And then I mentioned I would mention, a favorite moment for Metal Resistance, I think, for them. And I'm just going to say the trilogy set of concerts as a whole that led up to the announcement of Tokyo Dome. I think of all of the stuff they released, I rewatched them the most. For different reasons. I think they evolve their performance and they elevate to a whole new level with each show in that trilogy, culminating, the great reveal of doing Tokyo Dome the following year and things like that. And one of the reasons I think it was landmark for them is we get the Road of Resistance music video out of one of those shows, which is one of the first things I saw when I fell down the foxhole. I was just like, holy crap, look at these thousands of people jumping, moshing, and super into it, and not just standing around like most of the concert footage I'd seen from other groups. And that was something that really solidified for me. And I'm guessing a lot of people that, this group is here to stay. It's really fun. I must see them live. So I think that was kind of a landmark moment for them, and one of my favorite moments from them, from Metal Resistance.
Nice.
Yeah, and I would say, I think I may have actually said this, recently too, but I think that the third of those, the Yokohama one, is probably the one I watched the most. I mean,
yeah,
because I remember we talked about last time the fact that they light up the foxes depending on who's performing.
yeah, but yeah, so great. So those are my favorites.
Nice,
excellent.
And once again, we'll pivot if anybody wants to join us. And
even if nobody does, I mean, it has been great to have the sort of feeling of a room of people talking about this. So,
yeah,
true.
And thanks to those who have joined in
and contributed.
There's still time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess if nobody wants to join us, Paul, it's your turn.
Oh yeah, it is your turn.
Oh, have I not? I've been sort of sticking things in along the way.
Yeah, you know what? You've kind of been giving us little sneak peeks and previews.
Yeah.
But let's get the full experience.
Sure. Yeah, we can do that right after we hear from Ella, who is raised and has a hand raised. So,
saved by the bell.
Yeah, exactly.
Saved by the hand.
So we'll add you into the room here, Ella, and if you could just quickly introduce yourself and tell us about your favorite moment from the Metal Resistance.
Okay, awesome. Hi. I just thought I should come in and save Paul since he seems to be under heat right now.
I'm sure he really appreciates that.
To be honest,
Excellent,
I'm really nervous to talk because I'm a really new fan. To be honest,
worries.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nope, nothing at all.
And I don't have some of the great stories that some of you guys have, but it sounds so amazing, and it's been really lovely listening to it because as a new fan, I mean, it's been a while since I first saw them. Just exactly like you said, I saw things like the Road of Resistance at Saitama Super Arena, I think, and and the video that really made me fall in love. I don't know if you guys remember, but Budokan Red Night, they put their opener, their Mikitsune opener.
Yeah.
It just struck me as wow, this is something so crazy different. And but for a while there, I was just I was watching some of these pro shots on YouTube, and it's I didn't really know where to go from there, but I just wanted to give a really, really big thank you to the community, because when I found the online community, the Discords, all these people that are here today, and they really taught me a lot. They showed me everything I need to know, and since then I've just been watching through all their shows from Legend I. I'm on the forum 2019 right now, and it's just been such a journey, even though
that's awesome.
I wasn't there to see anything in person. In fact, when I found them, I just missed. They toured in my city 2 months ago. When I found them, I was like, no.
Oh, no.
That sounds that sounds about like my situation, because I was a fan of theirs. I became a fan in 2015, and I'm originally from the state of Ohio, and they did Rock on the Range, which is a festival there.
I just watched that.
Wait, the Rock on the Range 2018?
Yeah, I think
that was me with the flag at the end.
That was the one that was right before Rock AM Ring and Glastonbury, right? Or not right before. Yeah.
Yeah, I was the one with the flag at the edge of the barrier. That was me.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Yeah, I had the outfit on and everything.
But that was a really great set list. I love In the Name of. It's a really powerful song.
So have you been watching these shows in chronological order? Is that what you were saying?
Exactly.
That's super cool.
First, I'll be honest with you, I watched Tokyo Dome first. And I was like,
yep.
Holy macaroni. And now I'm going to watch it from the beginning, because I need to get a feel for what this band has been through, and it's been amazing just watching them. It's been a few months now I've been watching, and just seeing them grow up and progress.
It is kind of neat.
Other than Tokyo Dome, what has stood out to you?
Maybe it's cheesy, but it is. I think that's definitely my favorite show. Like this,
Sure.
like some people have said, the scale of it, the fact that they played basically all their songs. Oh my god, it was crazy. But really, for me, I'll be honest, my favorite member has always been Yui. I just thought she's amazing. Her stage presence is awesome. I mean, all three of them, of course, but
Right.
And
we all have our favorites.
It was, watching it with some knowledge of Babymetal, it was really hard to sit there and watch the Big Fox Festival, which was her last show.
Yeah.
And just sitting there saying, does she know? All these things going through my head, and then it just ends, and it's just like, oh, she's gone. And I just, I can't imagine how it must have been for all the people that were, fans at the time.
Yeah, it's that's kind of how I initially, I went to that show, the Osaka one. So, and I didn't, obviously nobody knew at the time what was going on. And, they announced Legend S. I was miffed because I was like, I can't go to that. And that's the kind of show that I wanted to, something with a story, and then, in hindsight, it's like, well, obviously there was a reason I needed to go. I got to go to Big Fox Festival so I could see all of them do their thing together.
It was an incredible show. So then, just moving on from that, it was then Legend S rolls around, and it's like, obviously these two girls can perform amazing things just by the two of them, but it was definitely a big shock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially since it was clear they didn't have so much time to practice or change much of the choreography. But still, I understand why so many people loved that show. It was incredible. But
it was.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing.
Sorry, yes. it was just a lot of ramble, but
you're fine.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
That's such a fun time. I mean, like when you're sort of new at it, like still absorbing all of the stuff for the first time, and so have you had a chance to sort of look back at all, sort of beyond Babymetal to Sakura Gakuin and that kind of thing? Is that something that you've explored?
I haven't looked much back before, like Legend I and that era. I know about Sakura Gakuin, and I've seen, I was reading through some of Yui's diary entries, but it's really adorable. But I actually kind of wanted to watch some of those episodes because they look really cute.
They are adorable.
I've seen some clips here and there, but yeah. But yeah, just a massive thank you to the community. The Babymetal community has been so helpful, so amazing, and really, really welcoming.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really super unique. I've never experienced a community like this before.
It's true.
And I don't know that I ever will again. It's really magic in a bottle.
Definitely. It feels like whatever's going on in my life, however I'm feeling, I can sit down, watch some Babymetal, and it will always make me feel a bit happier, and it's all thanks to the community that I'm able to experience that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I hope I can go to my own show one day.
Yes.
I'm sure you will.
Fingers crossed.
Legend Y. Hello.
Yeah, it seems like we should. It's about time to hear from you again too.
Yeah, it's been some years. How many years now? 3, 4 at this point. 3.
All I will say is, I hope she's happy. I hope that this is what she wants. I hope she's doing. I hope she's. It was her choice, etc., etc.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's very accurate.
If she's happy, then that's great. But I just hope everything went well for her. If she does come back, we can all be happy.
Yeah, that's true too.
if she doesn't, I just hope she's in a good spot.
Exactly.
Yep.
Definitely. Well, thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you so much for having me.
Don't be shy.
Thanks for taking. Take care.
Yep.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
Yeah, I guess we'll see all of you at the next shows whenever they are.
Yes.
Whenever the unsealing happens.
Although for me, it's probably just going to be a U.S. show if they have a U.S. show. No outside country traveling for me for a little bit, unfortunately. But if there is a U.S. show, I will try my best to go.
Oh yeah. No, it's frustrating not really knowing how accessible the world is going to be. But,
exactly. That doesn't help either.
Yeah. I think I mean I would have been kind of on the edge of being able to go to a show in Japan anyway, regardless of any of this. But yeah, now it does seem a little far fetched. I think it will be a while before before that's either actually possible or something I'd be up for.
Yeah.
Well, it's not for everybody, so.
Yeah.
Unless somebody wants to jump in and save Paul again, we still have to hear from Paul.
Yeah, you're not getting out of it, bud.
But maybe I'll put in here the stuff around the release of Metal Galaxy, because that was the album release that I was around for. So I guess this would be basically the Sun Also Rises and all the announcements that came on that day. So that was sort of after a period of like not really knowing anything, sort of seeing all of the ideas that they had sort of presented at once. So we had the Avengers, we had the that is the first time. That was the beginning of the Avengers, and that was the announcement of the album release and the tour, and so that was neat, and it was fun sort of living through that hype, and I think it was significant for them. There was a time when it really seemed like there was a very upward trajectory on that, and I was hopeful that this was going to be something that would sort of hit bigger than the previous two albums had.
Right.
I do feel like it didn't quite realize the potential that it had in my head. It did sell well, through forcing everybody to buy, 1 million copies of this with all their tickets. But it did feel like they could have marketed that better. But in the end, it was still really cool to sort of be there through all of that release stuff.
Love it.
Yeah. Oh, we lost Maggie. Okay. No, we have unlost Maggie.
No, my electricity went out at my home, and so I'm now on my cell phone.
Oh,
nice.
No.
Yeah, so here I am.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And here it actually began. We had the first snow of the season.
Oh, nice.
Going on behind me. That's kind of nice. We'll bring Paul back in. He was the first to speak. He doesn't necessarily need to reintroduce himself.
Yeah, guys, sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed a part two. I wanted to kind of let
I
other
think we're
people...
on part 4 by now, right?
Yeah, no, just when Paul mentioned about the albums, it kind of, I guess, sparked some of more memories of album releases. So, as Babymetal fans know, like Babymetal always release an album with a launch show. For Metal Resistance, it was Wembley, and for Metal Galaxy, it was LA Forum. So those were two shows that I was fortunate enough to be able to attend, and they were just really amazing moments. And I guess the benefit of going to those shows is that you hear a lot of new songs for the first time, because it's the launch of their album, and they're really this is really their introduction to whichever album they're putting out there. So Wembley was a really special moment. It was their first arena show outside of Japan, and it felt like almost an international meeting of Babymetal fans, because so many people came in from all over the world, and they I think broke the merchandise record a couple of times over at Wembley Arena, which is a famous venue. So that was a really awesome show, and the launch of the Metal Resistance album. A lot of debut songs for fans who were fortunate enough to be able to attend. So that was pretty awesome.
That was a great show.
It was.
I mean,
it was so awesome.
I've only seen it, in the pro shot, but it's one of the ones I go back to. Honestly, I think I like it more than I liked the Forum. Although, I mean, the Forum has its other things going for it. But if I had to actually rank the two,
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would pick Wembley over the Forum, I suppose, simply because there was kind of more new songs. You had the traditional Kami band. You also had Yui there. So yeah, it had other elements, and the crowd was very hype, and maybe it isn't so rambunctious in the US as it is in the UK. But yeah, that was pretty amazing. But LA was awesome too. It had its own qualities. Of course, it had Riho and Momoko. Or I also love the Avengers as well as Sue and Moa and the Kami and Yui, who's obviously sadly left. Yeah, I mean that had awesome moments. That had the trilogy of lights. A Starlight Shine in Arcadia with the Riho Sayashi accompanying them, who's a very accomplished and experienced dancer. And I think of the Los Angeles show, LA Forum show, the highlight for me was Riho and Moa and Sue, doing their dance routines to Starlight Shine in Arcadia. That was a beautiful moment. I'm sure Kevin, I think we were all there. Maggie, right? And Kevin and Paul,
yeah.
So yeah, we all got to experience that moment, and I'm sure you guys would agree it was pretty special.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just because Paul mentioned the albums, I thought I'd mention something about the 2 album launch performances, which were also very special memories for me. So yeah.
Oh, cool.
Thanks for sharing more.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I think it is neat how they do keep things. I mean, people don't like the secrecy and all that stuff sometimes, but I mean, I do appreciate the way they do hold things back for releasing for the first time at the forum or whatever. And like we there were a number of things that were I think there were a number Dada Dance for sure hadn't been played before and was debuted there. So even though some of us maybe knew a little bit about it ahead of time, but
yeah. Well, I think with Maggie's Power being out, and we're kind of out of incentives to get people to join us, maybe this is a good place to call it.
Yes.
Yeah. No, this has been great. And for whatever 2020 and 2021 brought us, at least we do have this sort of community, and it's been fun to be able to continue to talk about it, and we intend to continue to talk about it.
You know what might be kind of fun? This has been a fun format. I wonder if going forward we should make it a point to do like an open mic night episode every once in a while.
Sure. Yeah, I think that'd be kind of neat. I mean, we definitely appreciate everyone who types at us, as we record. But this is a lot of fun too. If we can come up with a sort of like a theme, a topic, or something that people could think about a little bit in advance, that'd be great.
I think we should do that. Look for that in the next year.
Yep.
We will definitely do one of these again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and we have other ideas about other things, other topics that we'll talk about while we wait for the seal to be opened. So
Yes.
Excellent. All right. So I guess then that is it for this episode. You can join us on the Babymetal Podcast Discord to continue the conversation. Rating the podcast on whatever platform you listen on will help people find it, so please do that. We'll be back here in about some number of weeks. Might be 2, might not be 2, probably won't be 2. We'll be back in some number of weeks. We hope you'll join us when that happens. And until then, see you